wanna talk? So let's talk. Here. Talk. You wanna talk? You gotta talk, you need to talk. News talk.
I talk, you talk to Solomon. I talk, you talk to Solomon. Yeah, let's talk to Solomon. Talk to Solomon.
You gotta talk, you wanna talk.
Welcome, my friends. It's Talk to Solomon time. That's me, Stan Solomon. I'm riding solo tonight in the studio as Chief Steve is on his way to his daughter's wedding. But joining us is my friend, Brent Johnson from the Global Freedom Report. Hey, Brent.
Hi there, Stan. And by the way, I want to tell people that our website at freedomradio.us, we are about to have a brand new look to the website within a matter of days at this point. So do check it out, www.freedomradio.us. Tremendous website if you care about your life, liberty, and property.
Which I can certainly confirm, affirm, and recommend to you. All right, our guest is Dr. Robert Greer. He is an author. He is a professor. He is a learned man, and he's also a man who's experienced tragedy, as he had a son that was killed in college at one of these college shootings, and yet he is a man that believes in God, in freedom, and has some real concerns about those who promote Islam. Dr. Greer, how are you?
Good to be with you again, Stan.
It's always a pleasure. I want to start with this whole idea of gun control from the perspective of the Sharia, Islamist, Muslim modus operandi, if you will. If you could just, I know you've written a book, and just tell us about it.
Well, let me just start with my book. It's Quran Revealed. It's like a study Bible, but it's a study Quran. Takes the reader through the Quran, surah by surah, and it's arranged in chronological order rather than the way that you normally get a Quran, which is arranged in by size, where each of the surahs are presented in terms of how large they are in descending order. But when you read it my way, you actually understand you understand the Quran much better. It's easier to read. It reads like a narrative. And the reason why I'm saying this up front is that I believe that the American public needs to become conversant and understanding of the Quran. Once they do, a lot of these questions they're having about gun control, about the question of violence with Islam, a question of are the fundamentalists the fringe, or are they the centerpiece of the movement, of the religion? All these things get solved quickly. And what you will discover as you read the Quran is that the Quran presents the Islamic faith in this manner: that they want Muhammad wants his followers, the Muslims, to bring about a worldwide evangelization toward Allah, toward Islam. He wants it to be done peacefully if possible. But if it's cannot be done peacefully, by coercion, through politics, and through violence, and also by way of trickery, by deception. This is all presented in the Quran. Deception and trickery is part of their so-called inspired book. So we need to become aware of this, and we need to see what is already being seen in Europe today, that Islam is a dangerous movement, and we need to be prepared for it.
Now, Dr. Greer, can people buy this book? How do they get this book?
Yeah, it's on. I think I gave you my website where you can get it. It's advbookstore.com. Go in there. Go into the bookstore section. Type in my name. Type in Quran Revealed. Type in What the Quran Reveals, which is the second book I wrote, and type in Leadership Secrets of Muhammad. All three of these books can be found on that site. The second book, What the Quran Revealed, is a small little book, 60 chapters, 3 pages each per chapter, gives you 60 themes on the Quran. And I recommend that, again, just to get our American public off the dime. We need to understand what this book says. And I'm trying to get a literature out as understandable and as easy as possible to read, so that our American people will become get up to speed on this.
All right, Brent, you have a question for Dr. Greer. Brent? Did we lose Brent? Okay, well, then let me continue. Dr. Greer, there are those, and you touched on this, there are those who believe that the religion of peace, Islam, has been hijacked by a radical group. Some say small, some say not so small, but most say the vast majority don't believe that. I personally don't agree with that, but I'd like your research, what you found.
In our country today, the big debate is on whether or not the moderate Muslims are mainstream, or whether the fundamentalists are mainstream to the Islamic faith. And the mainstream media almost consistently makes the case that moderate Islam is actually true Islam, and that the fundamentalists are the aberration. It's exactly the opposite. The fundamentalists are actually the mainstreamers, and it is the moderates that are off in left field. But you won't understand this. Again, I have to emphasize it because it needs emphasizing. The listeners, your viewers, will not understand or will not be convinced that what I'm saying is true until they read the Quran for themselves. The American public doesn't want you. I mean, I'm sorry. The American media doesn't want you to become conversant in the Quran. They aren't even conversant in the Quran. When they're on TV, when they're sharing their points of view and bloviating as they do, I spot errors constantly in how they present the Quran and how they present the teachings therein. It's astounding how much ignorance is being passed on as knowledge.
Now, Dr. Greer, you're a Christian, correct?
Yes.
Why should one believe, and I'm not questioning you because I agree, but I'm saying why should someone viewing this program believe that you are treating Islam fairly, that what you're saying is true, that you're not in fact skewing or misrepresenting or just flat out lying about what is in the Quran? The Quran is written in a foreign language. I don't know that you speak whatever Arabic. I guess it comes two different ways. But talk about that issue, please.
That is why I want the American public to read the Quran itself. Don't take my word for anything. My notes are there to be read on the bottom of each page, of course, and they're there to help you. And then there's also subtitles mixed into the text, so you can see the transition points in the Quranic text. That's all there too. But the Quran speaks for itself. Let the Quran be the final say in this matter, what is right and what is wrong. That's what I'm trying to say. Don't take my word for anything. Don't take what the mainstream media is saying either. See it for yourself, and that's my point. And frankly, I don't hear many people saying this. In fact, I hear hardly anyone saying what I just said. Find out for yourself. Everyone wants to tell you what they say is the answer, and assuming that you'll just simply believe what they say. I'm telling the American public, find out for yourself. Take the time to read it. If you just spend maybe a half hour a day going through the Quran Revealed, study Quran, which I have presented, I have available for purchase. If you go through it half hour a day, within a month, you'll have most, if not all, the Quran read in a way that's understandable for you. That's my answer to that question.
All right, let me address this still further. By the way, Brent, are you with us?
Yes, I
okay.
am. Yes.
Do you have a question for Dr. Greer?
I wanted to acknowledge our guest because I have read the Quran in English. I have read the Quran, and I find it very, very difficult to read in the way it's presented. And so I applaud the guest for being able to put it in a much more comprehensible format.
Well, thank you. Now, Dr. Greer, let me ask you a couple of questions. It is my understanding, and I've had you on and other people that have studied this issue, and I've had some Muslims on also. Do you, or is it true that the Quran is made up of basically three parts: the words of Muhammad, the life of Muhammad, and commentary about Muhammad. Is that true?
You're saying about the Quran?
The Quran, yes.
The Quran is presented in a way that each and every word is the word of Allah. So it would be similar, not the same, but similar to in the Old Testament of our Bibles, Psalms. The surahs are presented in that way, in that form. Now, what you're saying about commentaries and about the life of Muhammad, they are found in the Hadithic literature. That's also available. It's available online. You can get it just by turning on your computer and looking for it. It's there. I present the Hadithic literature in my notes. So I offer the reader of the Quran revealed not only the Quranic text, but in the notes I show how the Hadithic literature corresponds to the Quran. So you need to have the Hadithic literature as well, because that presents to you the life of Muhammad. And both together give you the full picture.
All right, now let me ask you this question. Many people will say, when I make the point about being no fan of Islam, in fact, I consider it to be a bad choice. Whether you were born into it or you are forced into it or you convert into it, it's a bad choice in my opinion. That many people say, well, look, the Old Testament and the New Testament, if you take them verbatim, if your children curse, you have to kill them. That type of thing. So why are you taking the Quran verbatim? Your comment.
All right. The Quran is, first of all, the Quran is presented as a timeless, static document. It is believed to have always existed throughout eternity and will exist forward into eternity. It has no beginning, it has no end in terms of when it was written. All that Muhammad did was receive, he says, by dictation from the angel Gabriel, what was in heaven already. So the Quran really is, you need to understand that it has no time to it as presented, as Muhammad presents the book. Now, of course, we don't agree with that, but that's how it presents itself. The Bible, however, is presented as a historical document with a lot of transition points. The two biggest ones are Old Testament, New Testament. And these transition points present how the covenants of God with the people of God have changed over the centuries. Now, but way back when, in the early Old Testament period, the laws and the requirements of the people of God back then are not the same as they are today. And we need to understand that, but it's built into the text. It's built into the Bible that we have these transition points. And as you're talking about how they would, for example, they would stone people who had committed adultery in the Old Testament period. That was part of their laws. In the New Testament, we find that that's been taken away. Jesus himself, in a very famous passage, forgave a woman caught in the act of adultery, told her to sin and go and sin no more. But he did not encourage the people who wanted to stone her to have their way. That's one of many transition points that we find in the Bible, but you don't find those in the Quran. That's my point. They're not there. You need to understand that. And another interesting feature of the Quran is that it's not, when you study the archaeological evidence against the Quran, you find out that the archaeological evidence doesn't support the Quran. Mecca, for example, according to the Quran, was founded in approximately 2000 BC. Archaeologists, historians recognize that it didn't come into existence until about approximately 4th century AD. That's a big change. That's a big problem here. Now, imagine if I were to tell you that Jerusalem did not come, according to archaeologists, Jerusalem did not exist until the 4th century AD. If that could be proven, that would disprove the entire Bible, because the Bible is predicated on the historical existence of Jerusalem for many, many centuries prior. But it is the case with Mecca. Mecca did not exist until the 4th century AD. I show that in my book, and I encourage the readers to look at those notes and see for themselves. Good scholarship, not just myself. Scholarship in major universities have come to the same conclusion. It's not getting a lot of press. You don't hear it on TV. You don't hear it in many different avenues that's being presented to our people in our country, but it is true.
Well, the Muslim faith was created about 400 AD. Is that about right?
700.
700 AD.
So, I'm sorry, 7th century. It would be in the 600s.
600. All right, 600 AD. So Mecca had been around for 200 years, and back then, if you're making things up, that's forever. That had always been there. If I'm making sense what I'm saying.
I don't follow you.
Well, what I'm saying is that I believe that the Quran was made up out of the mind of Muhammad and others,
Right.
and they made it up out of whole cloth.
Right.
But since Mecca had been around for over 200 years, before they made it up, for them that was forever, because they didn't have any way of knowing what was there before 200 years prior to when they were there.
They didn't have the scholarship that we have today. They didn't have the archaeological analysis back then.
Right, so that's my point, that
Right.
it tends to lead credence to the fact that this was a made-up faith and a made-up book and not based on fact, where, frankly, all science confirms and verifies every single thing from the Great Flood to the walls of Jericho and on and on and on. The science backs up what the Bible claims, correct?
Good science backs up the Bible, and Christians encourage science to do all its analysis. We don't try to hide anything. We don't try to, we don't threaten people who try to disprove the Bible or disprove whatever they want to disprove. Go for it. We encourage it. Whereas with Islam, it's the other way around. They are very, very touchy about looking at the problems with archaeology versus their sacred text. But one thing I want to talk about, Stan, and this is, I think, more to the point of where we are today, and that is, as we've been seeing a lot of shootings in our country. These, for example, recently in Connecticut, in my situation in northern Illinois. And by the way, you made a slight mistake. It wasn't my son; it was my stepson who lost his life at that shooting at Valentine's Day. But nonetheless, these events were not Muslim, were not based upon the Islamic faith, with one exception, by the way, and that would be that those shootings that took place in Washington, D.C. about 6-7 years ago, where everyone was fearful, where the sniper was going from every other day was shooting another person in Washington, D.C. That fellow, by the way, was an Islamic person. He was Muslim.
Yeah, both of them were.
Pardon me?
Both of them, the young one and the old one.
Right.
They were both
the
Muslim.
young guy and the older fellow both. Right, exactly. But my point is this, is that we cannot assume that the next time that a big shooting comes our way, it will not have a Muslim backing to it. In fact, I think there's good reason to think that sooner or later we're going to have to face that. They're already facing that in Europe today. And I think it's just a matter of time before it comes to our shores.
In was it North Carolina or Duke? One of those two, there was a Muslim young man who took his car and drove into the common area and killed some people and wounded or injured a lot of people. And it was all Muslim-based. There have been a number of those attacks.
Well, then
in
the
this
thing
country.
about Fort Hood was Muslim as well. And a number of people lost their lives because of the Fort Hood shooting. So you're right. I guess you could say I misspoke a little bit, because there have been a few Muslim events that are part of our growing list of mass shootings. But what I'm saying what I'm saying now is this: is that we need to be mindful that there could be more in coming down the line.
You do not
In
want to
fact,
be
I think it's
unarmed.
almost, can we assume? Yes.
That's your point. You don't want to be unarmed if there is a rabid fill in the blank, whether they're Muslim or Jewish or atheist or whatever. If someone is coming along and their intent is to do harm to you and your family, you don't want to be in a position that you can't protect your family. That's really what it comes down to.
Right. And when I hear these people, for example, And my heart goes out to these parents who lost their children in Connecticut and other locations. And some of these people are advocating gun control, trying to limit and restrict guns from the American public. And my heart goes out to these people. They suffered deeply. And I understand that because we suffered as well in the same way. But my argument is simply this. If you want to bring about gun control the way a lot of our politicians and people in the media are talking lately, the way to do it is to change the Constitution. We got an amendment process. If you want to do it, change the amendments. If you don't want to change the amendments, leave it alone. Leave the document alone and just simply follow it. That's my argument. And I believe personally that the Second Amendment should just be kept. We should keep it. I think it's well presented. It is well defended. It is worked for the years of our country, and I think that we should keep it. But my point is, if you want to change gun control, start with the amendment process of the Constitution. Don't just try to end run around it.
Well said. Of course, the first 10 amendments are inviolate. They cannot be changed. That's in the preamble to the Bill of Rights. Let me get back to Brent here before we run out of time. Brent, another question or comment?
No, that's exactly what I was going to say. The Second Amendment is not a genuine amendment. It is the second article of the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights was appended to the Constitution as a condition of its ratification. You cannot change those 10 amendments, the 10 articles of the Bill of Rights, through the normal amendment process. You can't do it. They are intended to be permanent restrictions on government as a condition of allowing the federal government to exist.
Well said, and I agree. Well,
I wasn't aware of that, Stan. I wasn't aware of that, and I stand corrected.
Not a problem. Not a problem. We're out of time here. So, again, give the website, although we have it up, give the website and the names of your books again.
The large book is Quran Revealed. It's like a study Bible. It's a study Quran. The second book is What the Quran Reveals. That's like a primer to the large book. 60 chapters, 3 pages per chapter. Give you a good overview of the Quran. The third book is called Leadership Secrets of Muhammad. That book will present the strategies of the Muslim Brotherhood in the world today. Also gives a history of the Muslim Brotherhood since its inception, 1927.
Well said. I will look forward to getting those 3 books. I need to read them myself, and I'll talk to you afterwards about that. In the meantime, thank you so much for being with us, Dr. Greer. We'll be back shortly with Dr. Alan Keyes. Thanks for being a part of Talk to Solomon, folks. Stay tuned.
Thank you.
I like to eat. Do you like to eat? We all do. And usually we run to the grocery store, we run to the convenience store, or we have something in the fridge. But power's been out in parts of this country in the last few weeks. We don't know what's going to come down the pike economically. Smart people are putting in food. Alpine Air Gourmet Reserves is a line of foods that you can put away that will last for a very long time. You know, they say eat what you store and store what you eat. This is great tasting stuff, healthy for you, a full line. You go to our website, cpnlive.com, and click on the button for Alpine Air Gourmet Reserves and see all the different things we have. This is good tasting food. It's reasonably priced. It will last. And it's worth its weight in gold if a problem arises. I know you don't think there's going to be anything that goes wrong. Actually, you do. This is smart. This is smart insurance. This is smart preparation. This is smart thinking. You have kids, you have a spouse, you have parents, you have dependents, you have an appetite. All those things can be addressed by a frugal but smart investment in Alpine Air Gourmet Reserves. Try them out. You will be tickled to death with the taste of them. You know what? In many cases, people start to eat this and they think, heck, this tastes better and costs less than what you're going to the grocery store to buy. cpnlive.com, check it out. Let me ask you a question. Do you like being sick? I have in my hand an incredible product. It's called TR10 Supercolloidal Silver. TR10 stands for a trace to the negative 10th power. The particles in this silver product are 6 to 8 angstroms, 6 to 8 10 billionths of a meter. Now listen to me. Silver has been the magic bullet for all of human existence. The Egyptians used silver instruments. We use silverware. They put silver in your teeth because nothing can grow on silver. Silver will kill anything but liberalism. I'm working on that. This product, you go to cpnlive.com, buy 1 quart of this product. It will last you for a very long time. Anytime you feel like you've been exposed to something bad, take some of this product, spray it in your mouth, or take a little bit and gargle it, swallow it. It will kill any pathogen. The average antibiotic kills 10 to 20 different pathogens. This product will kill 700 plus. Do yourself a favor, do your family a favor, do your doctor a favor. He's tired of seeing you. Get supracolloidal silver. Go to cpnlive.com, order the product. It's $29.95 plus shipping. I think it's $39.95 delivered any place in America right to your door. It's worth 10 times that. Check it out. If you're not 100% happy, just return it and we'll give you your money back. Hey, my name is Stan Solomon, and you know if I have something to say, I'll say it. And I'll only tell you the truth because I'm a Republican, not a Democrat. Democrats always lie. Republicans only lie half the time. I don't lie at all. This is the Fuel Mule. It's an extraordinary product that was developed by a friend of mine, an engineer, and it increases the fuel mileage on your vehicle. If you have a combustion engine, this will increase your mileage by 10 to 20%. It bolts around your fuel line. You can install it yourself or have your mechanic do it. It is an extraordinary item, and it flat works. I've been using it for more than 10 years. It's increased my mileage on every vehicle I put it on, and by the way, it will last forever. You can get rid of your vehicle, just take it off and put it on the next one. Go to cpnlive.com. You'll have more information there. You can order it right there. We absolutely guarantee you'll be satisfied. The Fuel Mule. It's a way to kick down your cost of fuel and kick up your mileage. Don't you love the name? I thought of it. The Fuel Mule. Do you like being healthy? I do. In fact, this product, which I've been taking for years now, is absolutely the answer. Now, you may not believe it, but I'm actually 21, plus tax, of course. This product has 146 different healthful nutrients in it, and it's liquid, so it's bioavailable. It tastes great, and it's sugar-free. 1 ounce of Sonic Life each day will help you to maintain and enhance your health. It's a kind of a gift, well, that you'll thank your mom for, your husband for, your wife for, your kids for. Whoever you give it to, they're going to say thank you, and you are going to enjoy the benefits of having all the vitamins, all the minerals, all the nutrients your body needs in one very reasonably priced product. Just go to cpnlive.com and everything's right there. You'll be able to read all the ingredients. The price is right there, a flat price delivered to your door anywhere in the United States of America. Sonic Life is a gift, a great gift. Give it to yourself. I do.